Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine McCoy and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for clicking in to drop by, but if you're a returner, I'm very happy to have you back. This is the second video in the series that I am creating as a playlist for Black History Month. In my last video, I mentioned that Black culture is one that is frequently having bits and pieces of it taken by others outside of Black culture, outside of the Black community. And I never really gave that a name, although I'm sure some of you might be at least a little bit familiar with it. That is cultural appropriation. And I thought, well, that would be a great place to just start and talk a little bit more, because there's a very big difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. But before we get into that, we need to talk a little bit more about what makes the American culture that we know today. It is the Great American Melting Pot. That is the term, the moniker that has been dubbed American culture for a very long time. A melting pot. And a melting pot, we're going to bring in some science, that is a homogeneous mixture. That means a bunch of individual different things get put in, you do some stuff to it, there's some changes, and then eventually all of it is evenly mixed together to where it is the same thing throughout, a homogeneous mixture. That is not what it is to be living in the United States, though. As you can see, if you go even to just your superstore, you're not seeing a uniform society. Instead, you're going to see what some people have called a chopped salad of American culture. And I feel like that is a lot more appropriate for all of the different subcultures that you see in the United States. Because you have people with different languages, different religions, different hobbies and interests, and each and every one of those is a subculture. But the biggest and most divisive, the most focused on, the most also obvious one when you're looking at someone is their race. So in the United States, we have different races, and one of the races that gets culturally appropriated very frequently is the Black community and Black culture. So that's what we're going to start with today. I'm going to talk a little bit about cultural appropriation, and then we'll move on into cultural appreciation. The first thing we need to understand is the definition of cultural appropriation, which is the unacknowledged or inappropriate adoption of the customs, practices, ideas, etc. of one people or society by members of another, and typically more dominant people of society. So it is just like the meme, hey yo, let me copy your homework real quick. Okay, just make sure that you change it so it's not obvious. And here's a couple of, examples of that meme, but that essentially is what has happened with Black culture. But instead of asking, the other person just did it, and then afterwards they made fun of you for the work that they copied. Essentially, you can think of it as cultural plagiarism. Now that we have a definition, you're thinking, you're understanding, but we want to provide an example. When I was getting my notes ready, I thought, okay, I need to make sure that I choose something, an example that is going to have emotional impact and that is going to be recent enough in history that some people will remember it. And you might remember when Zendaya wore faux locks to a red carpet event. Now, in case you don't know who Zendaya is, get out from under your rock, but she is a activist, an actor, and a singer. Those are the three biggest things that I know her from. And she goes to this red carpet event looking beautiful, fantastic, and you have this this person. Her name was Giuliano Rancic. I'm pretty sure that I said that correctly. She is an Italian TV and entertainment reporter. She says about Zendaya, she looks like she smells like patchouli oil and weed. And she says this in a tweet, which was a terrible, terrible decision for her, really, considering that she has 2.9 million Twitter followers and Zendaya has 19.9 million Twitter followers, at least at the time of filming this. That was just setting herself up for failure, and she pretty much almost ended her career. And you're thinking, oh, well, that's just one person. That's what happens when you put yourself out there as a major actor, as a celebrity. People are always going to have negative comments about you. But to that, I will say this. Giuliano Rancic was voicing an opinion that other people probably agree with. And it's voicing an opinion that is a stereotype, a negative one that Black people smell bad and that they smoke weed. And she's doing that in order to discriminate against Zendaya, make her feel that she is less than, devalue her, and that she doesn't deserve to be or doesn't fit the area, the sphere of influence that she is in. So that's one example of Black people being discriminated against for our culture. That is a part of cultural appropriation. On the other side of that, you have Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus is a quick little bio for her. Hannah Montana, she is a singer, she was an actor. She does act a little bit still, but that is what she is known for. And she goes to the MTV VMAs. There was a lot of things that happened that night in 2015, I believe. And she has positive, negative news reviews all the time. But at this specific one, she wore faux locks. And you had half of the people saying, and half of these people being Black people, culturally competent white people, even Chance the Rapper, saying that Miley Cyrus culturally appropriated faux locks. On the other side of that, you have the positive reaction to our fashion choice. We had all of these different news outlets saying that it was exciting, that it was excellent, that it was bringing a new sort of look to the fashion industry or to the music industry. There we go. So all of them are saying like she's bringing something different, that it was everything. And it's like, okay, I see how this goes. A white person wears a traditionally Black hairstyle and she gets praised for it by the general media. But then you have people protesting that because it is cultural appropriation, because when a Black person does it, she's told that she smells like patchouli oil and weed, or when even just a normal average person wears it to work, they might be told that their hairstyle is unprofessional. And that is what cultural appropriation is. It is two parts. It is praising, and in the context of where and how I'm talking about cultural appropriation between Black and white people. It is white people being praised for Black cultural features, and then also denigrating those features when they are on or in or done by Black people. And then there are also other places where you see cultural appropriation in African American vernacular English versus a Black accent. I did make a video about African American vernacular English, which is AAVE. You should definitely go check out that video. It also happens with other hairstyles, box braids, twists, Bantu knots. And it doesn't just happen to Black people. It happens to Native Americans. You have white people going to football games wearing Native American headdresses. You have white people celebrating Cinco de Mayo, but it's exclusively as a day for them to get drunk on tequila and to eat tacos. It has nothing to do with the actual meaning of the holiday, where it's a celebration of Mexico defeating the French in a really big battle that helped them gain their independence. Doesn't matter. To most white people, it's about the tequila and the chacos. So that is cultural appropriation. And now we move on to cultural appreciation, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is appreciating a culture that is not one's own. And how do you do this? It's very simple, because you don't need to be a part of a culture in order to celebrate it, in order to recognize it, in order to learn from it. Cultures are not something that are safeguarded, that are gatekept, and just with barriers and walls and lines between. In 2022, there are many, many ways for a person to just appreciate another culture. And it's also what opens our mind to the amazing world that we live in. Granted, the United States is a huge place. It is a place also that has a bunch of cultures represented in it. but we can also look outward to see what the rest of the world has to offer. So what is it that you can do to make sure that you're a cultural appreciator? The first thing that you can do, and I am a foodie, I will suggest that you try the food. Go to an authentic restaurant. That way you're tasting the food the way that it should be tasted, not the way that Americans think the food should taste. Another thing that you can do is you can go to the celebrations or traditions as an audience member. And if it's something that is like typically a closed event, make sure that you get an invitation. Obviously, don't just show up. Kind of like the way that some people will go to their friends' bar mitzvahs or bat mitzvahs. Or, because we live in the world of information, you can go to the internet. You can follow people or places that live where it is that you want to go, that live the culture that you are interested in. I'm interested in Japan. That's why I follow Sunday Love, living our best life in Japan. And the final thing that you can do is you can travel to the place of interest. Now, this is something that obviously takes money that not everyone has, but if you are deeply committed to experiencing that culture and just being fully immersed into it, it's something that you can hope, dream, and plan for to achieve one day. And that is all I had to say. If you have learned anything from this video about the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation, it's that cultural appreciation can only happen when you recognize and acknowledge the original creators of a thing and celebrate with them. It's important that you celebrate with them because it means that you stand with them and that you are an ally. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And remember, if you have any suggestions of things that you want me to talk about or film for this playlist celebrating Black History Month, put it in the comments. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye.